You check your phone the moment you wake up, before you speak a word, before your eyes fully adjust to the light. Your thumb is already moving. And somewhere deep inside your skull, a very ancient part of your brain is trying to make sense of all of it. It cannot, because your brain was not built for this world. It was built for a world that disappeared thousands of years ago. And every single day, without you noticing, it is running ancient software in a modern environment. The glitches are not bugs. They are features. Features your ancestors needed to survive. Features that are slowly making your modern life harder. The real answer to why you feel anxious, distracted, overwhelmed, and never quite satisfied is far stranger than you think. It starts about 300,000 years ago. Your brain, the one sitting inside your skull right now, is essentially the same brain that emerged in early Homo sapiens on the African savanna. Neuroscientist David Eagleman has pointed out that the human brain has not meaningfully changed its core architecture in at least 100,000 years. You are, in a very real biological sense, a prehistoric creature wearing modern clothes. Your brain learned its deepest lessons in a world without cities, without screens, without strangers, and without guaranteed food. It learned that the environment was dangerous. It learned that social rejection meant death. It learned to scan constantly for threats, to never fully relax, and to always want more. Those lessons are still running, right now, in your head. Psychologists call this the mismatch hypothesis. The idea is simple. Your brain evolved to solve a specific set of problems, the problems of the Pleistocene. But the Pleistocene ended. The problems changed. Your brain did not. And so the machinery that kept your ancestors alive is now grinding against a world it was never designed to handle. Here is the first and most important thing your brain cannot stop doing: scanning for threats. Your ancestors lived in an environment where threats were everywhere, and failure to notice them meant death. A rustle in the grass, a shadow behind a tree, a face that looked angry. Any of these could mean predators, or rival groups, or violence. So your brain evolved a system that neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades studying. He called it the amygdala threat response. It works like this. Before your conscious mind has even registered what it is looking at, your amygdala has already assessed whether it is dangerous and begun triggering a stress response. This system is extraordinarily fast and extraordinarily biased. It is wired to assume the worst, not because your brain is pessimistic, but because the cost of a false negative, missing a real threat, was death. The cost of a false positive, thinking you saw a predator that was not there, was just a rapid heartbeat. Evolution favors the false positive, always. And so your brain, right now, in your perfectly safe apartment, office, or commute, is still running a constant low-level threat scan. The problem is that in the modern world, the threats it picks up are not lions. They are emails. They are unanswered messages. They are a comment someone made at work. They are the news. They are notifications. Your amygdala does not distinguish between a predator crouching in the grass and your boss's tone in a Tuesday morning meeting. To your ancient brain, stress is stress, threat is threat, and it responds accordingly. This is why you feel dread before an important conversation, why you lie awake, replaying something someone said 3 days ago, why your heart pounds when you hear a sharp notification sound. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It just cannot tell the difference between a lion and a late reply. And then there is the second feature your ancestors desperately needed that is silently wrecking your modern life: the obsessive need to monitor your social status. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, famous for his research on group size and social bonding, discovered that early humans lived in groups of roughly 100 to 150 individuals. In those groups, your social position determined everything: who you mated with, how much food you had access to, whether you were protected or abandoned. Being cast out of the group did not mean an awkward weekend. It meant exposure to predators alone. It meant almost certain death. So your brain built an elaborate social monitoring system. It learned to constantly track how others perceived you. It learned to read facial expressions with remarkable precision. It learned to feel physical pain when rejected, because researcher Naomi Eisenberger demonstrated in landmark studies using brain scans that social rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. When someone ignores you, unfriends you, or laughs at you, your brain processes it the same way it would process a broken bone. That is not metaphor. That is neurological fact. And now take that system and place it inside the modern world, where instead of 150 people who know you by name, you are exposed to thousands of strangers every day. On social media, in comment sections, in open-plan offices. Your brain, which evolved to track the opinions of 150 people in your tribe, is now trying to track the opinions of thousands. It cannot, but it does not stop trying. And the effort is exhausting. This is why you check your social media immediately after posting something. Your brain is waiting for social signal, approval, or rejection. It is doing what it always did: scanning the tribe. The tribe is just much, much larger now, and none of them know your name. The third ancient feature that shapes your daily life is one almost no one talks about: your brain's inability to ever feel permanently satisfied. Psychologist Rick Hanson, who spent years studying the neuroscience of happiness, coined a phrase that explains this perfectly. He said the brain is like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. Your ancestors needed this asymmetry. In an environment of constant scarcity and danger, satisfaction was a trap. The animal that felt fully content after one good hunt stopped hunting. It stopped vigilant. It eventually died. The animal that felt a brief glow of success and then immediately began worrying about the next threat, the next shortage, the next winter, survived. You are descended entirely from the second animal. This means your brain has a built-in negativity bias and a built-in inability to hold on to positive feelings for very long. Researchers call this hedonic adaptation. You get the raise. You feel great. Within weeks, you feel baseline again. You buy the thing. You feel great. Within days, it fades. You reach the goal. And before the celebration is over, your brain has already moved to the next target, the next threat, the next insufficiency. This is not ingratitude. It is evolutionary programming. It also means that no amount of achieving, acquiring, or succeeding will ever make the modern human feel permanently okay. Because your brain was never built to feel permanently okay. Permanent okayness was extinction. The fourth thing your brain does that made perfect sense 200,000 years ago and makes almost no sense today is its relationship with energy. Your ancestors lived in an environment where calories were scarce, unpredictable, and worth every possible effort to obtain. Fat and sugar were not abundant. They were occasional, precious, and survival critical, so your brain evolved to crave them intensely. When you found fat or sugar, you ate as much as you could, because you did not know when you would find it again. Now imagine that same brain sitting in front of a bag of chips or a fast food menu. There is no off switch. There was never an off switch. Because in the world your brain was designed for, there was never an infinite supply. Evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard has written extensively about this mismatch, noting that the same biology that kept your ancestors alive through lean seasons is now contributing to entirely modern metabolic crises. Your brain also evolved to conserve energy at every opportunity. Movement required calories, and calories were scarce. So your nervous system rewards rest and penalizes unnecessary effort. In the ancestral environment, resting when you could was rational. Today, it looks like procrastination, fatigue, and the overwhelming desire to lie on the couch instead of going to the gym. You are not lazy. You are efficient by the standards of a brain that has not updated its priors in 100,000 years. And then there is the thing that connects all of this, the thing your brain does that underlies every single one of these ancient patterns. It treats everything as if the stakes are life and death, because for most of human history, they were. Psychologist Paul Gilbert, who developed compassion-focused therapy, has described the human mind as having a threat system that is essentially always on, not because humans are uniquely fearful, but because the cost of switching it off in ancestral environments was simply too high. So your brain defaults to treating every uncomfortable situation as a potential threat, every social evaluation as a potential rejection with mortal consequences, every missed meal as the beginning of famine, every difficult emotion as a signal that something is fundamentally wrong. Nothing is fundamentally wrong. Your brain is just ancient. The extraordinary thing about understanding this, the thing that actually changes how you move through the world, is this. When you feel that spike of anxiety before a presentation, that is your amygdala doing its job. When you obsessively recheck what someone meant by a certain tone, that is your social monitoring system doing its job. When you feel vaguely dissatisfied, even after a genuinely good day, that is your negativity bias doing its job. None of it means you are broken. None of it means something is wrong with your life. It means you are a 300,000-year-old organism trying to navigate a world that is, at most, 200 years old. You are not malfunctioning. You are mismatched. And knowing the difference is the first step to working with your brain instead of against it. The threat is not in the room. The tribe is not watching. The hunt is not required today. Your ancient brain does not know that yet. But now at least you do. The next time you check your phone the moment you wake up, before you speak a word, before your eyes fully adjust to the light, you will know exactly whose hand is already moving, and exactly how long it has been reaching.